Good day everyone, my name is Clarabel Pascobilio from BSED Math 2. For this topic, I'm going to tackle about the domain and range and a function. As you learned in the lesson, functions are mathematical expression that when graph pass the vertical line test, if we can draw a vertical line through a graphed function and it only touches the graph once, it is a function. The domain is the set of values that can be entered into the function, while the range is the output value when the domain values are input into the function. For example, in yx is equals to 2x plus 12, the domain is all real numbers because no real number entered into this function will cause an undefined output. The range also consists of all real numbers. For a domain of -2 and +2, the output for this input is as follows. So we have y is to -2 is equals to 2 times -2 plus 12 is equals to -4 plus 12 is equals to 8. And we have y is 2 equals 2 times 2 plus 12 is equals 4 plus 12 is equals to 16. So let us now move forward to the difference between domain and range. What is the difference between domain and range? So let me discuss. The domain is the set of all possible input values, and the range is the set of all possible output values, or the domain is the set on which the function is defined, and the range is the set of all values attained by the function. Definition of domain and range. The domain and range of functions are important concepts in mathematics. The definition of domain is that domain is a function of the set of all input values that the functions is defined upon. It is all of the values that can be substituted or plugged in to the function itself, such that the function remains defined. The range of a function is the set of all values in which the function is defined, or in other way, it is the set of all values that the function takes. So take a look at the example of table values on the left side. As you can see, the input values appear in the x column, while the output values appear in the fx column. This would make the domain and range of this function 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3, 6, 9, 12 respectively. It can also be valuable to consider the domain and range of a relation, a mapping in which input values can be mapped into multiple distinct output values. However, for this lesson, the domain and range of a function will be the only concern. And on the right side is the example of mathematical relation. Finding the domain from the graph of a function. Here is the domain of a function found from a graph of the said function. In general, given a function graph, analyze the various x values that produce outputs of the function. These will form the domain. Start with a graph of a function. So here's the function is y is equal to x squared. Okay, as you can see, the input values are given along the x-axis because the x values and the function are usually the input values. Notice how the graph extends along the x-axis infinitely in both directions. Although the ends of the graph cannot be seen, the graph does indeed extend infinitely in these directions. Finding the range from the graph of a function. Now consider the range of a function given its graph. As a reminder, The range is the set of all possible output values of a given function. See, on a graph, the output values are given along the y-axis as y values. The range could then be found by analyzing the y values that the graph attains. So take a look at the graph presented. Okay, so as you can see, the range is only concerned with output values or y values that occur vertically. So look at the possible output values of this graph. Notice the graph does not extend below the x-axis, which means no negative values are included in the range. So the smallest values included is 0 in this case. The graph extends vertically to infinity and is continuous, containing every value in between 0 and infinity. The range is therefore 0 and infinity. The bracket next to the 0 indicates that this function can equal that endpoint value and in the interval. And that's the end of my lesson. Thank you for listening and God bless.